The leather whip rose high above the crowded plaza, and the woman on her knees stopped breathing.
You will learn your place, woman. The whole town will watch and remember.
He's never been this drunk before. He's really going to kill me.
Then, from 3 streets away, the sound of splintering wood and iron-shod hooves. Estrella tore down the alley, dust billowing her chestnut coat, blazing in the noon sun. She burst into the plaza. Just as the whip began its second vicious descent, her teeth sank into Jeffrey's forearm, and she yanked him clean off his feet. Before he could scream, her iron-shod hoof came down on his right shoulder with a crack. Jeffrey crumpled, his arm twisted, and Estrella stood guard over Charlotte, a low rumble in her chest. Charlotte looked up through tears at the mayor who had carried her since girlhood, and in the shadows, Sheriff Morales turned his back on the whole scene.
Estrella, you came for me. You broke out of the stable and came. He was really going to do it. This time, he was going to kill me. And then you stopped him.
2 men lifted Jeffrey onto a wooden door, his right arm swinging dead at his side. Sheriff Morales muttered that no law could fault a horse for protecting its owner. Then he walked away.
They're carrying him to the doctor, but he'll heal. He always heals. And then the real punishment begins.
Charlotte took the lead rope and guided Estrella out of the plaza, past faces that turned to stone.
For 8 years, she had taken the blows. Today, something finally struck back.
Their little ranch sat at the edge of town, dust-choked and quiet.
I should saddle her and ride until the desert swallows us both.
But instead, she led the mare into the stable, latched the door, and let the tears come. In the dim clinic, Dr. Ramirez peeled back Jeffrey's blood-soaked shirt. The shoulder was a ruin of splintered bone.
Can you fix it, you old fool? I'll pay anything. I need my arm.
The joint is shattered, Senor Reyes. That arm will never lift a whip again. Goodbye to your punishing days.
Then I'll use my left hand to shoot that cursed horse, and when I am done with it, I'll deal with you, woman.
Charlotte stood rigid in the doorway, a basket of clean bandages clutched to her chest.
You think that animal saved you? I'll make you watch as I put a bullet between its eyes.
Before Charlotte could respond, Sheriff Morales appeared in the corridor, his shadow falling across the threshold.
Doctor, a horse that mauls a man in broad daylight. Isn't that a danger the town should address? Legally, I mean.
Charlotte's breath caught. The sheriff's meaning was as clear as a noose.
They'll use the law to kill Estrella. I have to get home and move her before they come.
Charlotte reached the stable at dusk and slid the bolt. She pressed her forehead to Estrella's neck.
I won't let them take you. Not the sheriff, not my husband. I'll leave if I have to.
The brush moved in steady strokes, the mare's coat gleaming in lantern light, then heavy boots. Jeffrey's shadow fell across the straw, his right arm in a sling, his left a fist.
Where is that beast? I am going to shoot it now.
You are not touching her. You've heard enough for one day. Enough for a lifetime.
You dare speak? After what your horse did, I'll kill it and then teach you again.
I said, you will not touch her.
She stepped in front of the stall, brush raised like a club. Jeffrey stopped. He saw no fear in her eyes, only cold promise. He backed out, but his shadow lingered, full of menace. 2 nights later, as the desert chill settled, a cautious knock rattled Charlotte's kitchen door.
Charlotte, it's Marta Garcia. Open quickly. I must speak with you.
Charlotte unlatched the door to find the shopkeeper's face drawn tight with fear. Shawl pulled over her braids.
Marta? What's happened? Come inside before someone sees.
You know what your mayor did in the plaza, my husband. He's no different. Each payday he drinks and his fists find me. I watched Estrella and I thought, if a horse can stop a man, maybe I can borrow that courage.
She's asking for what I dared not speak. If I say yes, there's no turning back.
Let me take her, just for an afternoon. I'll bring her back. He won't suspect. Please, Charlotte.
Charlotte looked out the window at the stable, where Estrella stood in the moonlight, and she remembered the weight of Jeffrey's whip.
If she goes with you, you must never tell where she came from. Swear it on your saint.
Marta's calloused hand clasped Charlotte's. The candle flame guttered between them, and outside, the town slept unaware that its first weapon had just been forged. At first light, Marta rode Estrella bareback through the sleeping lanes, the mare's breath steaming in the chill.
20 years of bruises hid under this shawl. Today, I ride with a spine of iron.
Her husband stumbled onto the porch, his belt already swinging, a bottle dangling from his fingers.
Not today. Today, I am not your floor.
The mare's steady gait echoed her resolve. To Estrella, the raised belt was just another threat, and when the man lunged, the horse answered. Estrella screamed and rose, hooves slicing the morning. She knocked him flat. Then her hoof pressed his chest, just enough to remind him what helpless meant.
The mare didn't kill him. She simply showed him the shape of his own terror.
By noon, the mare was back in Charlotte's stall, and Marta's trembling hands were still. Charlotte saw the light in Marta's eyes and asked no questions. That evening, 2 more skirts hurried toward Marta's shop. 3 days later, Elena Ortiz found Charlotte under the schoolhouse eaves, a lantern trembling in her grip.
My husband broke my wrist last winter. I hear you have a horse that can break men in return.
Another one. If I refuse, she goes back to beatings. If I agree, I am a full accomplice.
Charlotte handed over the lead rope without a word. The pact had grown its own momentum. At dawn, Elena rode into her farmyard. Before her husband could swing the fence post, Estrella reared. The mare's hooves struck his thigh, and the crack of bone cut through the rooster's crow.
He screamed for mercy, and she stopped. She didn't need to do more. He understood.
Dr. Ramirez set the leg with grim efficiency, the man weeping. It was no accident, but no one would speak. Sheriff Morales filed a report that led nowhere. The only witness was a wife who saw nothing. That night, Elena returned Estrella to the stable, then joined Charlotte and others gathered in the schoolhouse. From the cantina window, Jeffrey watched Marta and Elena slip away from Charlotte's gate, their heads bent close.
Those 2 wives, then a broken leg. And now they run to my house. That horse is being used against men. Where do you go at night, woman? Tell me now, or by God, I'll sell that mare to the glue factory.
I go to the school to prepare lessons. You've never cared where I go before.
Lessons? I'll teach you a lesson. That animal's blood will be on your hands.
That night, when Jeffrey's snores rattled the house, Charlotte led Estrella through the back alleys, a cloth over her hooves. She locked the mare in a hidden shed behind the school, where old books and chalk dust would be her company.
He'll kill her. For now, this dust and darkness are her armor.
At dawn, Jeffrey burst into the empty stable. The stall was bare, the water bucket overturned. He cursed the dust, then stood still, a man with a plan, a vengeance that would need more than a whip. The night after Jeffrey's rage, a dozen women filed into the schoolhouse, their breath misting in the chill.
We are here because the law won't protect us, but we can protect each other.
We have Estrella, but we need more. Money for medicine, for a lawyer if it comes to that.
A clay jar passed from hand to hand. Coins, a ring, even a silver cross dropped inside.
What do we call this? We need a name that keeps us hidden but united.
Las Guardianas, the guardians. We watch over each other, and when words fail, we have Estrella.
They clasped hands in a circle, candlelight catching the resolve in their eyes. Within the week, a 3rd man lay groaning in his yard, a mare's hoofprint on his pride. No one saw a thing.
Señora Flores says her husband won't lift a hand against her now. The horse reminded him of his own fragility.
But as they counted their small fund, Sheriff Morales was counting the list of accidents with a growing certainty that something underground had taken root. The 3rd accident left a man crumpled in his cornfield, his right arm twisted at an impossible angle, the trampled stalks whispering of hooves. Sheriff Morales knelt, touching the deep hoofprint in the mud. The pattern was familiar now, too familiar.
3 men maimed in 3 weeks. This ends now. I want every woman who owns a horse brought in for questioning.
Marta was first. The sheriff cornered her outside her shop, his notepad already open, his questions like stones.
I sell flour and sugar, Sheriff, not conspiracies. A horse is a horse. They get spooked.
Then Charlotte sat at a child's desk, the chalkboard behind her listing civic duties she could no longer believe in.
Your mare is tied to every incident, Senora Reyes. I am impounding her as a dangerous animal. She'll be held until I find the truth.
He's taking her. Our shield is gone. What now?
Deputies found the hidden shed. By sunset, Estrella was locked in the public stable, a heavy chain rattling against the door. The women gathered in the market, hollow-eyed. Las Guardianas had grown too bold, and now they were defenseless. Charlotte found Estrella in the last stall, her coat dull, her muzzle pressed to the bars.
Estrella, you saved me, and they caged you. I'll get you out. I swear it.
A small shadow crept forward. The deputy's son pushed a fistful of hay through the bars, then vanished into the dark. That morning, Deputy Luis had touched his wife's purple wrist, the same helpless shame he saw in Charlotte's eyes. He found Marta sealing her shop, a cold iron key pressed into her palm, his whisper raw with shame. Marta slipped the key into Charlotte's hand at the stable gate. A deputy's wife was a sister now.
He gave us a way in, but using it means defying the law itself.
The key felt heavy with the weight of every woman who had ever been told to stay silent.
Then we use it. We are Las Guardianas, and we will bring her home.
In the dust near the stable, Charlotte drew a path with a stick. The fireworks would be their cover. That evening, the schoolhouse windows were shuttered. A dozen women sat on the floor, a single candle on the desk. In the plaza, the festival lanterns were already being strung, a careless sound of hammer and laughter.
The mayor's festival begins at sundown. The fireworks will start an hour after dark. That's when we move.
I'll keep the sheriff busy. He'll be watching me, but I'll be buying roasted corn and talking about flour prices.
I'll lead Estrella through the alley. I know the way, like my own veins. She'll walk calm with me.
I'll wait at the school with the door open. We'll hide her in the supply room until the town forgets.
2 women would watch the stable. 2 more would light candles if the law stirred. The plan was set.
What if someone sees us? What if Jeffrey is watching?
Then we protect each other. No one moves alone. We are a chain now.
They clasped hands again, the candle flame throwing their shadows against the walls like a procession of warriors. Fireworks shattered the night, red and gold blooming over the plaza, drowning all other sound in thunder. Charlotte and Elena slipped into the public stable as another explosion shook the sky. The key turned with a sharp click.
Estrella, we're going home. Keep quiet. Keep close.
They led the mare into the alley, her hooves wrapped in cloth, the fireworks flashing like a stolen sun. A shape moved in the darkness ahead. Jeffrey emerged from behind a broken cart, a shotgun braced against his good shoulder.
I knew you'd try this. That beast will bleed right here, and you'll watch.
Jeffrey, put it down. This is between you and me. Leave her out of it.
She's the reason you have a spine, no horse, no rebellion. I'll cure you both.
Charlotte stepped in front of the mare, arms spread wide. Estrella's ears pinned flat, a low rumble in her chest. The shotgun's twin barrels stared at Charlotte's heart, but she did not move. The fireworks above held their breath.
If you want her, you'll have to kill me first. Pull the trigger and show the whole town what you are.
Then a shuffle of skirts and shawls. Marta stepped out of the dark, Elena at her side. Another woman, then another.
You want to shoot, Jeffrey. Shoot through all of us. Let's see if you have enough shells.
On the rooftop above, Sheriff Morales stood motionless, his hand on his holster, watching the line of women. He saw a man with a gun aimed at women, and the law had nothing to say about chivalry when it wore skirts. Slowly, deliberately, the sheriff unlatched his gun belt and let it fall. Then he turned his back and walked away along the rooftop. Jeffrey's finger twitched on the trigger. Then his shoulders sagged, and the fight bled out of him.
This isn't over. A horse and a pack of skirts won't save you forever.
He tossed the shotgun into the dirt and stumbled off into the darkness, his shadow shrinking until it was nothing. Estrella nickered softly, and the women closed around her like armor. The first battle was won, but the war was far from over. At dawn, Charlotte led Estrella through the schoolyard gate, the mare still wearing the festival's dust on her coat.
You will stand where the children can see. They need to know a protector when they see one.
Children pressed close, their small hands stroking her flank, their voices a chorus of wonder. Jeffrey appeared at the edge of the crowd, his face bruised and his rage distilled into a single sheet of paper. He hammered the notice into the school door with a rusted knife. The word disgraced, bleeding black ink.
This woman breeds violence. She corrupts your children and shelters a beast that has maimed good men.
Whispers erupted. Some parents pulled their children back, others stood firm. The town split like a cracked bell. By noon, a formal summons arrived. Charlotte Reyes was to appear before the school board the next day to answer charges of moral turpitude.
He's trying to take my classroom, my last shred of dignity. But I have Estrella. I have the women.
She folded the summons into her skirt and looked across the schoolyard where the mayor stood, a living symbol of the fight to come. The town hall was packed to the rafters. Jeffrey stood at the front, his left hand gripping the rail, his right dead at his side.
She has turned my wife against me. She unleashed a beast on this town. I demand her classroom be stripped from her.
The crowd murmured. Then, in the third row, Marta Garcia rose, her voice cutting through the noise.
He lies. He was whipping Charlotte in the plaza when the mayor stopped him. I know, because my husband did the same to me.
Elena Ortiz stood next. Then, one by one, women in the crowd rose. A board member's wife rolled up her sleeve, revealing yellowing bruises.
You see? The violence is not mine. It belongs to the men you protect. I teach children, not hate.
The chairman's wife, too, rose to her feet, her face calm. She was one of them, a guardian. The room fell silent. The chairman's gavel fell. The vote was unanimous. Charlotte Reyes would keep her classroom. Jeffrey pushed through the crowd, his face a mask of fury. He threw open the doors and disappeared into the street, the door slamming shut behind him like a final judgment.
He won't stop. This humiliation will fester in him like a wound. We must be ready.
That night, Jeffrey crept toward the school stable, a can of kerosene swinging from his left hand, but the women had taken shifts guarding Estrella. Marta and Elena emerged from the shadows on either side.
Did you think we wouldn't be watching? Drop it, Jeffrey.
They grabbed his arms, the can clattering to the dust. Elena kicked it away.
Let me go. That beast ruined me. I'll burn all of you.
Marta raised her lantern high, the light harsh on Jeffrey's fear-stricken face.
You are pathetic. Run, Jeffrey. Run before we decide the horse was too gentle.
They shoved him into the street. He stumbled, his boots slipping in the dirt. Then came laughter, women's laughter, that chased him as he fled into the night. He was no longer a landowner, a husband, or a threat. He was a joke the whole town would tell by morning. A week later, in the lawyer's office, a single sheet of paper lay on the desk, a divorce petition.
All this for a horse. Sign and be done. You want to see me crawl? Here, take it.
His left hand scrawled a trembling signature. Then the lawyer slid a second paper, the title to the land, his debts swallowing the rest. Charlotte received the deed in the schoolhouse, surrounded by Los Guardianes, the paper heavy as her freedom.
It's done. The land, the house, it's mine. We did this together.
You earned it in blood and courage. Now the school sits on your land, and no man can threaten you again.
Outside, Jeffrey loaded a wagon with a trunk and one bag, his right arm hanging useless at his side.
This dust-choked town of gossips. I'll go where no one knows my shame.
Not a hand waved. Not a curtain stirred. The wagon became a speck on the desert road. Charlotte watched from the schoolyard, Estrella's warm breath on her shoulder. And for the first time in 8 years, she felt unafraid. The morning of the parade, Estrella stood draped in marigolds, her chestnut coat brushed to a copper gleam.
Today we ride in the sun, not in secret. This town will never forget what a horse taught us.
Children ran alongside, tossing petals, and their mothers walked behind, no longer hiding their faces. At the plaza, a young sheriff pinned on his badge, then clasped Charlotte's hand with a smile. Then a new sign rose above a repurposed shop. Women's Mutual Aid Society. Las Guardianas had a home.
From a candle in a schoolhouse to this, any woman who needs us knows where to knock.
And Estrella will have the finest stall and back for when she's needed. But truthfully, I think her fighting days are done.
The parade wound through every street, and by sunset the town had shed its old silence like a snake skin.
A woman on a horse. That's all it took to break the silence. But the real change came when we decided to be heard.
The town slept deeply that night, and the mare who had sparked a rebellion dozed in her stall, a horseshoe nailed above the school door. 2 decades slipped over the town like a soft shadow. Estrella grew old, her chestnut coat dusted with white. One spring morning, she lay down in her paddock and did not rise. Charlotte knelt beside her until the sun set. They buried her beside the schoolhouse, under the live oak where children ate their lunches. The whole town came. A small wooden cross marked the spot, carved with a single word, Estrella. No dates, no explanation. Everyone already knew.
She carried us when we couldn't carry ourselves. Because of her, our daughters know they can fight.
In those years, 3 more men were trampled by accident, but Las Guardianas now had a fund and a lawyer. The whispers became a voice, and the voice became law. No wife in that town ever faced her husband's whip alone. Children still play around her grave, laying wildflowers on the stone that replaced the cross. The horseshoe still hangs above the school door, and every new teacher tells the story. The mare who taught a town to fight. And under that marker, a town learned that justice sometimes comes with 4 hooves. As the first shovelful of earth fell, the townspeople drew close, and Charlotte turned to face them, silver-haired and steady.
This mare carried more than a rider. She carried hope into homes that had forgotten its name.
She was our shield when we had no other. We promise, Charlotte, her story will never be silenced.
From her shawl, Charlotte drew an old horseshoe, Estrella's first shoe, worn thin from a lifetime of carrying the helpless. She laid it on the fresh mound, and the iron clinked softly against the wooden cross. Children who had never known a whip came forward, their hands full of marigold petals.
Scatter them, little ones. Estrella loved the spring, and the spring will remember her.
Petals rained over the horseshoe and cross, bright orange against the dark earth. The crowd stood in silence. And then, softly, Marta began to hum, the old lullaby of the border, a song of journeys and return. One by one, the voices joined, rising over the grave like a farewell that promised no goodbye. The burial day faded into a gentle dusk, and the town resumed its rhythms. Yet the silence had changed. The stone horse on Estrella's grave caught the last light, her mane frozen in eternal watch over the schoolyard. Above the school door, the horseshoe still hangs, catching the first light of every dawn, a silent promise. Generations of children pass beneath it, and every new teacher begins the year with the tale of the chestnut mare. Charlotte, gray-haired, sits on the schoolyard bench, her smile full when she hears the children recite her story. Las Guardianas keep their doors open, and no woman in that town faces a raised hand alone. The law caught up, but it was a horse who first taught them that justice could wear a bridle. As the sun finally sank below the desert, the horseshoe's shadow fell across the stone like a blessing. The town slept, and Estrella slept, but her hoofbeats echo in every lullaby sung to a girl child. And under that stone, a town found its courage, and it galloped on 4 legs,